Hi, I'm Cole Gress. I'm here with Jerry Masterpool today. The reason we're here today is Jerry Masterpool is our track builder. Jerry comes from a long history of Olympic alpine skiing, a very dynamic and exciting sport. And he's crossed over to motocross, trained some of the best amateurs and pros in the nation today. And he has a great facility down in Texas where he trains young athletes and builds tracks on a daily basis. And his concepts for amateur racetracks will be very, very beneficial for everybody in the future. And we're excited to have him on board and developing a track at Glen Helen that everybody should be very excited to race on. Jerry's done a lot in his career, and he's done a lot for the sport of motocross. And we want to know, Jerry, what brought you over to motocross?
Started with our first child, Jesse. We actually, short story, we retired after the Salt Lake Olympics, and we were raising the kids on a ranch. And then the passion, we had kids that came over, some athletes, and Jesse turned to having a great passion for motocross. And with that, we tried to talk him out of it, but that didn't work, as a lot of these kids understand there's a lot of dangers and risk-taking, but they have a passion that's so deep for this sport. When a kid has that much passion, you want to be, allow him to follow his dreams and do what he can with the sport. So that started the involvement, and with tracks right off the bat, trying to build a responsible, safe environment for him to train in while meeting what they're so passionate about, that thrill, that challenge, that race.
You've done such great things with tracks and riders and your concepts and vision on safety. Let's talk about some of your concepts as far as creating two lanes, one for 50 racers, 65 racers, 85 racers, and that kind of skill set and that size of motorcycle, as opposed to a pro, and then a intermediate type and big bike type of lanes that would, what type of things do you do when you create those two lanes? What are you looking to do to make it fun, exciting, and safe for both those size of motorcycles?
Basically, it's a good progression and challenging for all the riders involved. As you mentioned, the size of bikes, well, a track should be set accordingly to that. With little bikes on a big bike track, that has tendency to turn it into more of a cross-country race than it does a race that's built. Basically, if you have a 50 or 60 that's this big and a big bike that's literally twice the size of that bike, then the track should be made accordingly. There's a lot of variety of turns in motocross, as we all know. But basically, along that philosophy, it's better for the rider. It's actually more challenging for the rider, and it's built both from the pros to the amateurs to the youngest riders. It's built along their mindset. Their basic mindset is they want to twist that throttle and they want to have that challenge, rather than they don't want to be backing off that throttle. Their instinct is to go, 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 go. To reiterate on that question, what are we doing here? We're trying to give back. We're trying to give back to a community that has been very gracious to us, both the industry, the community, the families, the riders, and this is our way of giving back. We tried to run away from it, but we kept being drawn back to it, and that feeling was responsibility. Very excited to be working with you and the group we're bringing together, that I feel is very responsible and very dedicated and reflects the passion that these riders reflect. Jesse had that passion. And we know of so many kids from pros to entry-level kids that have a deep desire, a burning passion to pursue this sport. So we're trying to be responsible for that, to that passion and to that drive, that dedication, and do everything we can.
And Jerry Masterpool has some really awesome, revolutionary ideas on how to set up an amateur racetrack from a skill point standpoint and a size of motorcycle standpoint that will show it's a lot safer and a lot more raceable for the competitors on the track. It's something that I really, really hope catches on. And, of course, we're going to have time practicing at this race. So your time in your practice session will determine your gate pick. But there's a caveat to this. Your gate pick is based on, it's a pole position type of staging on the start. So if your first time in practice, you get gate 1. Second time in practice gets gate 2, gate 3, 4, etc., which puts all the fastest riders in a pole position type of situation where they come off the line equally, and the fast guys are grouped together going into the first turn together, and they're not spread out, creating that crunch. So fast guy number 1, he's in gate 1. Fast guy number 2's in gate 8 because he feels it's a better angle. So he comes off, crunches 2 through 7. That creates a bad situation. We've seen it a lot of times. We've seen it at some of these bigger races where somebody from the outside sweeps in, does that crunch, and there's 20 guys in the middle not knowing where to go, and they cross bars, and it's not a pretty sight. Those are some of the ugliest crashes that I've seen. But I think this concept of the pole position staging and start, where the gate drops, everybody goes, but qualifying is first through second. And now once they do that, that makes for a nice fair start, and everybody comes out hopefully nice and safe. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about that and how you feel and how you came up with that concept.
Well, basically, the racers want to race against each other, and the spectators and the fans want to watch their heroes race. And there's nothing more frustrating when you're wanting to watch two racers compete against each other, and they've got 20 other riders in between the two of them. It's as we all know in this sport, as in all sports, you have your upper echelon, and it's a battle in working your way up. So even the riders who are just at the entry level of amateur or pro or what have you racing, you're basically set up truly with the guys you compete with. So it makes a better race for the riders because it's very difficult if one rider A is going against rider B and there's 20 other riders in between A and B. That gives one an unfair advantage. And it's by consequences. It's not, I think, with this system, it puts the fastest all together so that it lessens the consequences of 20 riders that usually don't separate you in between. And so on with 10th to 20th or 30th, with these riders working their way up, they're with their true competitive group. So I think it'd make much, much more exciting racing, safer racing, and much more exciting racing. But this develops a better flow rather than having a flow where the right side's coming in and the left side's coming out, and you get the squish factor in the middle to develop that flow where everybody funnels on a radius.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, with the start, so we have the start, we have the track, and then, I think that's it's a good conversation we just had as far as, rider safety and addressing some issues that we've all seen over the years, over 15 years of traveling to amateur races and seeing the good, the bad, the ugly. I think this is a great new horizon for this type of event. And I think everybody will really enjoy the track, enjoy what you bring to the arena for these kids and these racers. And like I said, we're an open book. We're trying to develop something that, if somebody has a great idea, if somebody thinks we can do something better, and it makes sense, and we feel it's for the greater good of safety and keeping these kids developing. So keep us the number one nation in the world for motocross talent. That's a good statement to be a part of. So I think we can do that in great amateur events and great training facilities like yours in Texas, training facility 956 in Texas. You're doing great things down there, and you've helped out at all the big races. You've made some changes at Loretta's and places you go, and it makes a difference, Jerry. So we all appreciate it, and I'm glad you're involved in this, and I look forward to seeing what you give us. So thank you again.
Thank you.